Welcome into Buccaneers Total Access. Casey Phillips here, and normally we start the show with Todd Bowles because of the schedule. We're going to have to flip-flop it, so now I'm so excited to be joined by quarterback coach Thad Lewis, and again, we'll have Todd Bowles coming up in the second half of the show, but now, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Casey.
I know it's a short week, and also, man, just a rough one. I feel like there's losses. All losses are hard and tough. But then there's where it's also a loss of a couple players with injury. And that just feels like it's a very different situation. So what are the emotions you felt in the locker room among the coaching staff and coming out of this game and how much more challenging that can be to deal with than just a typical loss?
You feel bad for the players because they're teammates and they're around those guys. And it's unfortunate to see guys go down with injury. But as a coach, you know, sometimes you got to have short-term memory. And being a quarterback coach, sometimes when you turn the ball over, you have to have a short-term memory and on to the next. And we just have to get the guys ready to step up. You know, next man up mentality that Coach Bowles always preach. So you really don't have time to dwell on it. But at the same time, you keep those guys in your thoughts and your prayers while being able to get the other guys ready to go to continue to transition and continue to keep the train rolling and the ball rolling with the team because hopefully we can get those guys back, but at the end of the day, the end goal always remains the same, and we have to stay focused on that.
I know the chemistry between Baker and Mike, Baker and Chris had just been off the charts and incredible, looking great this year. Let's start with talking about Mike a little bit. What did you see about the way that Baker and Mike had been able to grow their chemistry to this point?
Just 1 year under their belt, knowing each other, understanding body language, some of the things you can't coach. Being on the same page, even though you be like, okay, there it goes. You know, you have some of those moments. But I think that's what a quarterback and a number one wide receiver usually do, just get on the same page. And they've done a great job doing that. And we've reaped the benefits for that early with him catching 6 touchdowns already through 7 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is right now. So unfortunately, he's down right now, but at the same time, next man up. And so hopefully Baker can rally the troops and get one of these young guys to step up and fill a void.
Yeah, you mentioned the touchdowns. Mike got his 100th career receiving touchdown. Only 10 players in NFL history have 12,000-plus receiving yards and 100-plus touchdown receptions. The only ones not already in the Hall of Fame are Mike and Larry Fitzgerald. Again, the guys that just aren't eligible yet. Tell me what those stats say to you about Mike and specifically his skills of, we know about the 1,000-yard seasons, but then also being able to get in the end zone the way that he has.
It's a testament to the guy coming in and doing what he has had to do as a rookie. You know, you think about the 1,000-yard every year he come in, that's unheard of. I even played and I never seen guys be able to do that. You know, that's uncommon. That speaks to the longevity of him being healthy and being available and able to go, and just his knack for the end zone. Just him being a great guy, and then obviously being a red zone threat when he's down there. I'm anxious to see how many of those touchdowns were fade routes down in the red zone with his background being a basketball player and him going up to grab rebounds like that because he's very good at that. But, I mean, just a testament to the guy and the work ethic and the time that he's put in, that some of the things we don't see in the offseason that carry over to the season. So hopefully him and Larry Fitzgerald will be first ballot Hall of Famers since there's only other 12 guys that do it, you know. So, I mean, it speaks to him, and the work is out there for everybody to see, the body of work, even though the media don't cover, you know, the South like that as much, but his body of work is out there. And men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So, you know, he has the resume for it.
I like it. And Chris Godwin, man, I mean, I feel like the injury is devastating because we all know what a great guy he is and everything, but it also feels even more devastating because at the level he was playing this year. I mean, it just unbelievable what he'd been doing on the field. Tell me what you had seen about both the Baker and him and their chemistry, but then also this new offensive scheme, putting him back in the slot. What had all kind of added up to the work that Chris had been doing?
Just see him, a guy like that, come off injury and get his confidence back, get back to the natural position that he was playing when we was here earlier with BA in the slot, and just him and Baker getting on the same page. You should see the communication between those guys. It's almost like a power forward or a center and a point guard talking to each other, going over the play to get them to rock, you know, and they're on the same page. And just him coming back off that knee and working tremendously. It's unfortunate to see him go down, but the guy with his caliber, his mindset, his character, I'm sure he'll come back bigger, stronger, and faster from that. Pray for a speedy recovery. You wish nothing like that happens to a guy like that because of what he means to this team. He is the heartbeat, so we're going to need some guys to fill that void for sure, but I'm pretty sure just his presence around to have the team in the right mindset.
We're talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. I know that next man up is one of the most commonly used phrases in the NFL, and it makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, what is the balance between just saying people have to step up versus understanding that everyone has different skill sets and how you try to, potentially have to change things, or what it means to Baker and how it might change what he's able to do, that knowing no one is Mike Evans, no one is Chris Godwin. How do you balance the, hey, next man up versus, hey, maybe we might have to change some things?
It's not about your scheme. It's about what the players can do. So everybody have a specific skill set. So it's our job to make sure we play to the strengths of those guys that have to fill a void. We know what they can do. We know what they can do best. Just put them in the advantageous situations where they can be the best they can be out there. Not ask them to be Mike or Chris, but be the best version of themselves. And if we can do that and put them in great situations, then we'll be off, and you can see the next man up mentality showing the skills that they can do, not what the other guys that are out could do.
So let's talk about some of these guys who are going to have to step up. Jaylen McMillan, we know, coming in as a rookie. A lot of high praise for him in the preseason, in the offseason, and his confidence level coming in. But it's felt like it's been a little harder for them to connect recently than it had earlier before. Tell me what the potential is for him, how he could step into some of these roles, and what needs to change to let him be a guy that is getting a few more catches, a few more targets.
I mean, he has a high ceiling, but at the same time, he would get more opportunity, which he probably didn't get as many opportunities with Mike and Chris being the first and second, choice of guys that you want to get the ball to. So anybody that has the opportunity to see the green light and the eyes light up when they say, okay, my number's called now, I'm going to get more targets, more opportunity, you should see a kid like that thrive and be able to go out there and play more and be more confident in his role, because his role will expand. Sometimes when your role is not big and you know it, you kind of just sit back and relax and watch the other two guys. But right now I just feel like he should be able in go mode, like the kids say, because now he get the opportunity and his role will expand.
And what are the things that he does best, and what are the things that Baker likes about him and the routes, the throws that they've really been able to do well?
The kid can run routes and he can get open. Now he just have an opportunity to display that. And just like anybody, just make sure you and the quarterback on the same page. You're where you need to be. We're all being detailed. We're all on the same page. And then you guys can connect like that. And I think moving forward with a great week of practice, practice don't make perfect, it make permanent. Guys will be able to get the chemistry down pat, which you probably don't get as many throws in practice with the other two guys getting more targets. And I think that'll help them out this week for sure.
And then Sterling Shepard, we saw him get the 2-point conversion, and then just the last several weeks that he's come up big in some key moments. And, it's funny that he came in and everyone's like, oh, they got that chemistry going back to OU. I mean, that was a long time ago. So how much was there still lingering chemistry from that? How much are they having to rebuild it? How much could Sterling be one of the big guys that has to step up in this moment?
I mean, you just have a veteran guy that's played in big moments, that's played in games, that's done it. His role get it expanded as well. So when you get him and expand his role, and him going in practice and getting more reps and being specifically put in a position to know exactly what you're going to do, that just helps out. And the chemistry between him and Baker, I don't think it goes nowhere, because once you have it, it's like riding a bike, but now just understanding and knowing where he's going to be at and things like that because of where he's going to be put with the injuries to the other guys, that helps out a lot.
And then, Cade, new career high in receiving yards, and his first 100-yard receiving game of his career, despite, taking some hits, taking some shots down there towards the end of the game in particular. I know earlier this season, Liam Cohen even said on one of our shows that he felt he needed to apologize to Cade after one of the games of not getting him more involved early on, and that has obviously changed in recent weeks. What has changed to let Cade be so much more involved? And what is his potential to, again, be one of these guys that steps up in the wake of this?
It's just you never know when your number's called. And every time his number is called, he step up. He's not a guy that asks for the ball a lot. He does all the dirty and grunt work down there at tight end and blocking. And I think because of that, he's been rewarded and being forgotten by defenses sometimes. And they lose on his just understanding that he's a pass catcher as well. So sometimes he get lost in the shuffle, but he's going to be a guy that's going to step up big. I've seen him grow since Brady was here. Now from a young pup to now, he's a veteran. So he understands if his role is going to get expanded and what's going to be asked of him. He's a pro's pro, and he'll just go out there and do whatever you ask him to do to the best of his ability. And yesterday we was asked to catch the ball and run a little more routes, and he had a career high. So I think moving forward, as his role expands in the passing game, he'll just continue to, be that gritty, tough guy down there blocking, but as well be a threat in the pass game for us moving forward.
Yeah, that guy that's like, I don't need no gloves. I don't need no stinking gloves. Just
old
whatever.
School, right?
Old school there.
Old school.
Old school. And then, man, the run game, talk about how that is always important, how much more important it could potentially be moving forward. But to watch, like, of course, against the Saints, just the explosion of 277 rushing yards, and then seeing that you got 3 running backs all, making a case for themselves to be out there a lot more. How much has the run game coming on affected this offense, affected Baker, the confidence that he feels in that, and just the pressure it could potentially take off of him?
Running the ball, it helps any quarterback. It don't matter who you are. It takes the pressure off of you because you can hand it off to a guy. He can make guys miss. He can get positive yards. You don't have to make the perfect play all the time. You don't have to drop back, pick up the blitz. Always be the guy that points out and get the protection right. It also keeps the defense at bay because you can run the ball and guys can take it a distance at any time. And now we have a 3-headed monster, which is good. And we're going to need all hands on deck. And then what a better time to see us put all the pieces together and let these young guys shine and play up to their strengths to the best of their ability. So I'm excited to see that continue to grow and this offense continue to grow with the guys that we're going to have moving forward.
And then, man, especially Rashard in the pass game, I mean, that guy has proven to have incredible hands. I've heard people joke even of like, hey, maybe we just throw him out at wide receiver now with these different injuries. But how important has that aspect been to him? And especially now, again, when you do have 3 different running backs with very different skill sets, and in the wake of these injuries, what is the importance of Rashad's aspect in the pass game, and just how much, again, has he grown in that area and the confidence that Baker has in him to know that, hey, this is a guy that's gonna catch it?
You just get to see his versatility shine a little more. We know he has it, and he was great in the pass game last year for us, and he would continue to be great in the pass game. He's running the ball better, and now he's done a great job at that, and now he just get to expand his role. And maybe get to be used more in the pass game, which he don't mind doing because he's great in space. It's hard to go down one-on-one tackle. He's just an all-around complete back, and you appreciate a guy like that. And just with the things that he's able to do in the run and the pass game, open it up for the other 2 guys once they get in the game. Sometimes he takes the beating and the pounding, and then the holes open up because he done wore the defense down a little bit, and the other guys get to shine. So. We're just going to need everybody, all hands on deck, man. I'm pretty sure he would be great to embrace his role and whatever we ask him to do, and he'll shine. He's a pro's pro as well, and he's a veteran guy now. He knows what's expected of him, and I expect him to go out there and shine bright for sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We're talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Later in the show, we'll have head coach Todd Bowles. This is Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access. Casey Phillips here with quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Again, later in the show, we'll have head coach Todd Bowles. Thad, I would love to talk a little bit more now about Baker specifically, and we'll start with this last game and then get into kind of the big picture. Man, I feel like 2 interceptions in the first 5 games and then now several in these last couple. Is there something you can point to? Does it seem like he's maybe just kind of having to force some things, or what has kind of led to this switch where he had been protecting it so well to start the year?
Sometimes you got to protect the playmaker from himself. That's just him being aggressive by aggressive nature. But sometimes you just got to just understand, like, you don't have to be aggressive all the time. We can check it down, got the ball in the playmaker's hands. And he's had so much success being aggressive that it's hard to kind of dial it back. But, in certain situations we would need him to not be as aggressive as he's been. Moving forward, I'm pretty sure he's a self-corrector. He's a pro's pro. I mean, he's a veteran and he knows what he has to do moving forward, because turning the ball over kind of hurts us in situations that, once you see the turnover margin and the percentages for the win and loss column and things like that, he won't understand it. And he'll watch the film and get better for it, man. He's an honest guy. He understands some of the things, that some other people can't have tough conversations with, and he embraces all of that. And now moving forward, I'm pretty sure you'll see a guy say, hey, okay, I'm going to be a little more careful with the ball. But at times when I need to be aggressive, I will be aggressive when the defense give it to me, instead of sometimes trying to force the ball in there and get the ball to his playmakers, especially moving forward with Mike and Chris out, because sometimes you can make that throw, be aggressive, and they'll make the play for you. But right now, I'm pretty sure moving forward, he might have to change the game a little bit, and give the ball and check it down and not be as aggressive as he's been.
And then outside of the interceptions in the game against the Ravens, what stood out to you about his performance?
He fought, he battled, and that's all you want to see in the guys. They never wavered, and even though we got down, you see we tried to come back at the end, and guys just continue to fight. And just know we have a good football team, and if we don't get behind and we do the right things and stay in the game, we can play with anybody, And it's just unfortunate that we didn't put it all together last night, but everything is a learning experience. Nothing's ever a loss. So hopefully we can learn from this moving forward and do some of the things necessarily needed to move forward and win games instead of lose tough games like we did last night.
And what do you remember about last season for him that made the organization say, yeah, this is the guy that we got to re-sign, this is our dude, and what he had shown you guys, especially it being in the wake of Tom Brady leaving, so much pressure on a guy to try to fill some very big shoes, and the way he handled it. What stood out about both on and off the field about Baker last year?
His personality is infectious. He's tough. He has grit. He's going to go out there. He's going to lay it all on the lines. You see last year, a couple games, we thought he wouldn't come back in the game. We thought he would be out. We thought he would be hurt. Like Coach Moore always say, if Baker goes out, we probably have to carry him out boots first. And I think the guys respond to that knowing that, hey, we got a guy that has our back and he's never going to quit on us. He's going to give us everything he has, and the guys will rally around somebody like that. But he's also off the field caring. He's got out here in the community. He's embraced the city of Tampa. He's brought guys along with him. And when you have a leader like that can just fit inside the locker room and give a positive, infectious attitude and also have fun doing this job that's very stressful for us, I think that's what won everybody over on and off the field for sure. That's
pretty incredible. And I also feel like it's not just even the attitude off the field, it's the way that attitude can carry onto it. We see him throw a stiff arm here and there, see him scramble a little bit here and there, which right. I'm sure at times probably gives you a mild heart attack as you're watching it, but also has definitely been that spark at times that the team has needed. Mm-hmm. Tell us the ways he's used his legs, the kind of putting his head down, taking on a whole defense at times, getting some of those first downs, where he is using the legs exactly how you'd want him to, where do you feel like you sometimes need to pull him back, or, and especially moving forward, does that change now with the way this offense could look?
No, I think you're an extra threat for the defense when you use your legs. So we're not runners, we're scramblers. I would tell people that. So sometimes when the defense covers everything, we might have to move around in the pocket and get down. Now, you said him taking on the defense. I would rather him not take on the defense some of the times like he do. And I would rather him be careful sometimes, stiff-arming with the ball in his left hand and stiffing on with the right hand.
Because he needs that one.
He needs that one. But you never want to take the toughness away from a guy like that, but you just always just kind of remind him about situational football. If it's for the first down, if it's for a touchdown, I don't mind you being aggressive. But if it's just a couple of yards and we're not there and it's just to get the defense on their heels and it's a play that they have us move around and get down. But sometimes I don't want you to get too happy because you're moving around and you got them on their heels and we don't stay in the pocket a little long enough and then go through and progress and leave the pocket too early. So it's a happy medium right there. But at the same time, you don't want to take that away from the guy because he does it majority of the time at the right time and when we need it. So we just want to continue to do that, but make sure it's always at the right time, not at the wrong time. But he's doing a great job of that. And I think that has been the difference going forward with different defenses and people that we've been playing because people didn't think about that. Baker moving around, scrambling, getting first downs. Now he's a threat. So some people have to put a spy on him, every now and then, as you can see the Ravens did last night. Zero was actually spying him, and I could talk to him and be like, you're not that fast, but at the same time, man, you're a threat. They watching
earning some respect,
yeah. Some respect, so I like that.
That's pretty great. And also we've seen, I think most people's, one of their favorite moments of Baker was last year, him telling somebody to get their weight up. Tell me about the trash talk ability of Baker. How much is this a factor practice, games? How good is he at it?
He's great at it. I mean, if he was a DB, it'd be great. But, you know, as a quarterback, I would want him to do it all the time.
You're like, stop making them mad.
Yeah, because guys are gunning for you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he embraces it. He can back it up. He's not going to shy away from competition. He's not going to shy away from contact, as we see. He's not going to shy away from a challenge. He lives, you know, with a chip on his shoulder all the time. So I think some of that gets him going. I.e., if you looked at Antonio Brown, he was out there talking. He was talking to himself, getting himself going. And I think that fuels Baker a little bit, where he could talk a little trash and try to get you out of your game, but stay on top of his game, you know, to get an advantage or an edge over you. So I think he used it, you know, strategically out there. Not so just talking trash, but, I mean, he's a trash talker no matter what. And he's a competitor no matter what in everything he does. So that's just a part of him. You never want to take that away from a guy. You want a guy to always be himself. And I think that gets him going, and that's just a part of who Baker is.
We're talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Tell me about, though, his mental preparation. I feel like we do see a lot of the attitude, this, that, but, like, he's a cerebral quarterback and guy. Tell me about that side of him that we don't always get to see.
He's very cerebral. He's going to talk about the pros and the cons of every play. You know, what is good against, what is bad against, what's my answers if they give me something differently. And he's done a great job of pre-snap, post-snap reads and having a plan if they present something else. And that's helped us out a lot. You know, he's growing in his offense and he's continuing to grow, and he's showing people his cerebral side. Just like that two-point conversion, it was 3 checks he had, basically, right, versus for zone, man, and zero. And he had all 3, and he got us into the right one and got Shepard the ball. So a lot of people don't see what goes into it, you know, during the week, and him coming in with questions and him coming in with plays and seeing the defenses and understanding what they're presenting and some of the things he want to get done and being able to and be incorporated in the game planning because he's so smart. People don't see that side of him, but testament to him, man. He's just growing, and he's showing you that, you know, he could be one of the top guys because he's so smart. So, I mean, it's paying off for us on Sunday, so we just want to continue that aspect of it for sure.
All right, we're going to take one more break here on Buccaneers Total Access. We are talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis, and in a little bit we'll have head coach Todd Bowles, brought to you by Advent Health. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access. I am talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Right before the break, we talked about the cerebral side of Baker Mayfield. And, of course, this poor guy's had to learn more offensive systems at this point in his career than anyone should have to, which I imagine probably hasn't been pretty good at it and knowing how to pick it up. So tell me what you've seen about his ability to learn Liam Cohen's system and then just how that system suits him, you know, how Liam and Baker are able to help each other out.
I think for him is some of the things that he's done with learning all these systems is you just learn a new language, and I think he's very good at learning a language. But most of the concepts are the same. If he came across a concept before, he remembered it. It might have been called different. If it's something similar that he's done, he's able to, you know, put the old with the new and go out there and mix it all together. But to his testament, man, his ability to just remember things and have, I would say, a vision that other people don't see. Like you can show him something one time and he could just boom, right, photogenic memory. He can get it like that, or he can remember the play call. You can start calling the play, and just because it's on the call sheet, he could just turn around in the huddle and continue to call it. So that's just what he does off the field. Man. His study habits, him getting in here early in the morning, him watching film, him studying, you know, him taking things, you know, seriously like that, him getting the guys going around him. It's just some of the stuff you don't see. And I think, you know, Liam appreciate that. You know, he was here early, like, let's meet, let's talk, you know, let's get on the same page, you know, what you expect out of me, what you want, you know, how do you see this, how do you see that, what do you call this, what do you call that, maybe can we call it this, you know, can we call it that, because I'm used to calling, so, you know, it's a give and take. You know, and it's a working relationship, and I think we've done a good job of that, just helping him where you don't have to remember something totally different. You know, if we can kind of keep things the same, but at the same time, I think the concepts that we did last year, concepts that he did when he was with Liam a little bit in LA, and then coming back, just remember some of the stuff, man, and putting it all together, and I think that helped him out a lot.
We also talked about the chemistry between him and some of his weapons, but talk about chemistry with his offensive line. I mean, he's basically an honorary member at this point, I think. How important is that relationship, and how have you seen that affect the offense as a whole, that he is so tight with those guys?
Smart. Any quarterback that has success, it starts up front, and then it goes to the playmaker. But without the guys up front, it's no you. And I think they go out to dinner every Thursday. I think they spend time with each other at the house. They talk about the protections. They're on the same page. They're able to laugh, joke, have fun, get on each other, hold each other accountable. And with that chemistry, it's unmatched. And I think with any quarterback, you should always, always have that relationship with your offensive line first. And I think he gets it from that standpoint. And they've been able to be on the same page. And you see they protect him. They go out there, they fight for him, and he'll do the same for them. If somebody gets in one of their faces, he's going to be the first one up there. If somebody gets in his face, they're going to be the first one to come and protect him. So you love that about that situation right there.
And having a rookie center, tell me the ways that has affected Baker and the way that he and Graham have worked together in terms of who's calling the protections and how Baker tries to help him out, and then how Graham is progressing in terms of maybe shouldering a little bit more of that responsibility as well.
Big brother, little brother relationship. Big brother's been in the league, and he's had a bunch of centers. Little brother's first time here, but he's eager to learn from big brother to show me the way, what do you need. And sometimes when you're a little brother and you want to do everything right for your big brother because he's the example. Now, I think that go hand in hand with them. But at the same time, guys, just corralling him, bringing him along, not actually big brother him, but treating him as an equal and telling him and giving him encouragement like, hey, man, you can do it. We trust in you. You was drafted in the first round for a reason. So just have fun and show us what you can do. But we're going to show you along the way and help you out. And everybody's did a good job of that for sure.
What types of throws would you say Baker is best at, and the types of throws that you guys are still maybe kind of trying to hone in on with him, of his biggest physical and mental strengths in the passing game?
I mean, he can make them all. And it's not just to pigeonhole him to a specific type of throw, because he's made every kind of throw for us this year when you need it. Like if you look at the play with Bucky scrambling and him getting the ball to him, you're looking at the whole shot, he threw the mic, and if you're looking at the go ball, he threw the mic, and things like that. So I just think, for him in situational football, it's just us making the right decision because he can make every throw, and I think, guys have been able to see, his growth, especially him throwing so many touchdowns, getting so many completions. Because of that, he can make every throw. And I don't think we've limited him to anything, because we have routes in every throw all over the field, because we believe that he can make every throw for sure.
We're talking to quarterback coach Thad Lewis. Looking to this Atlanta game now, it is always interesting to get a rematch so quickly after playing them. So what is most fresh on the mind of what you guys took away from looking at their defense, the way they played us, and some of the big things you're going to have to be focusing on and looking at to make sure the outcome is different this time?
Just giving that one away. We all felt like we should have had that game, and we gave it away. And you don't want that feeling again. We know it's a division opponent. Somewhat a rivalry in my mind, because of what's at stake when this game is played. And I think guys got that taste in their mouth from last time and don't want to have it, and they understand what the defense presents. It's going to be a tough, hard-nosed fought game because of what's at stake in winning this division. And I think we don't have to get the guys ready for this one. They'll be ready on their own because they know what we have to do and know what happened last time. And obviously we know what the defense presents from itself. We went up and down the field. We scored points, but we didn't finish. So the biggest part is, and everybody's mindset is, finish by all means necessary.
How much does it affect now? I think one of the benefits of getting a rematch is you look and say, hey, this is what they did against a Mike, a Chris, or whatever. Now, with it being different, how does that affect the kind of pros and cons of this preparation of, hey, they don't really know what you're going to do, but you're not able to use what they did last time as well, because it's going to look so different from an offensive perspective for us?
I think it's to our advantage. Sometimes you can dictate what the defense do by basically doing what you do. And I think we should just have a game plan and go out there and do what we do best, and hopefully dictate what the defense do based on what we have out there. And if they give us something different, be ready for the counterpunch. And just go out there and be tough and finish the game like we should have last time for sure.
And tell me about facing a guy like Kirk Cousins, of what you've seen from him as a quarterback over the course of his career, and what he looked like at his other stops and then what he looks like here in this Falcons system?
We know we let him go out there and throw the football up and down the field last time. But at the same time, he had a great game against us. And sometimes quarterbacks do. And then that was the one game that he came out hot. The week before, he wasn't so hot. You know, in other weeks, he hasn't played so hot. So we know he can get hot, so that's the thing about it. And that's been Kirk Cousins. Like, you know, he's good enough quarterback to dice you up, and then he's human as well. You know, just sometimes you're not perfect on that day, or sometimes you're off on that day. So we just got to go out there like the defense do anybody and put pressure on them, make it tough on them, not make it easy, because if you make it easy on any quarterback, then they can go out there. Everybody's pros. This is the National Football League. But, I mean, he's a pro. I mean, he got what he deserved because of some of the stuff he did in the past, and we just got to go out there and know that anytime if you just make it uncomfortable for him, then we could have the advantage for sure.
And I know having one day less, never easy as a coach or as a team, especially if you do have, you know, some injuries and things that you're going to have to make some changes on. How much does that impact what you guys do as coaches on the players, that you say, oh, it's one day, but it's a big deal in terms of how you guys typically have your week scheduled, right?
So it's only 24 hours in the day, so you lose 24 hours if you look at it from that standpoint. So you got to catch up on the back end in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So it just might be a long week for us, might be more preparation, but at the end of the day, at the end of Sunday, you come out with the W, it's all worth it, you know. And so you just got to do what you have to do. Just put your mind to it, game plan, understand what we did well last time, what they did well, how can we counter it, and just put the best plan together for these guys and put them in advantageous situations from their skill sets and go out there and play to the best of our ability.
Of course, most importantly, thoughts on the creamsicle jerseys?
I'm a big color guy, so I'm all for it. And as a kid, you know, just seeing that and seeing those throwbacks, you know, when the throwback jerseys first came out, you know, that was one of the ones that hit Michelin there. So the store was the creamsicle for the Bucs, and I think it was John Lynch, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a big advocate for it. I love it. I love that uniform. I wish we could wear it more than one time. I don't know if the guys love it. I hope they do. But, I mean, I like to put on clothes. I like to dress. So I'm like them, and I was able to play in the game. And I just feel like when you have a good uniform on, sometimes you play really good. So hopefully uniform helps us out this Sunday.
Look good, feel good, play good.
No doubt about it.
All right. Well, Thad, thank you so much for joining us again on this short week. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Coming up next on Buccaneers Total Access, we'll have head coach Todd Bowles, brought to you by Advent Health. This is Buccaneers Radio.